Hello, all my friends in TV land. This is Senior Issues, etc. I'm your host, Vita Verdon. Thank you for watching the show today, and Merry Christmas. I got a good Merry Christmas show for you today. Hurry up, go get your coffee, go get your Coke, come sit down, bring a pencil and paper with you. This one I thought about. I thought we've gotten to know each other, over this last 16 years. I thought, what could I do for Christmas? I want to do something that's worthwhile. And truly, it is more blessed to give than receive. And this is something each one of you out there could participate in a giving way. This is a good project. These two young ladies, everybody's young compared to me. These two young ladies I have with me today have set up a teaching method, and they have set up something that I'm sure each one of you really can get involved with. So let's pay attention and let's see what these gals are going to teach us and what they have to say, and this is their product. This first young lady over here to my right is Betty Reckwerdt, and sitting next to her, that's your niece, right?
Yes.
Is Sherri Byrne. So I know what you want. You want to know a little something up and personal about it. I know what you want. They like to know a little something. So you just look right in that camera and tell them a little bit about yourself, okay?
Okay. I live in Island Lake. Before I was married, I lived in Wakanda, so I moved real far and went to schools in the area, Transfiguration for my grade school years and Carmel High School for my high school years, and then married my husband who lived in Island Lake, Glen Reckwerdt, and we have 2 daughters, and from the 2 daughters we have 7 grandchildren.
Now, I know you want to blow some kisses, right?
Yes. Come on, babies. Catch Grandma's
You know
kisses.
what? On this show, I want to tell you something. We don't give little pecks. We give, I call them smackaroonies, right into that camera.
Mwah. Lauren Lane, Bryce Nolan, Allie Barrett, and Morgan. And we have 1 great-grandson, Weston.
Oh, that's good.
Mwah. Mwah.
Now, Sherri, we're going to get to you. So come on, give us the dirt on you. They like to know, they like to get up to what's she all about,
Well, there's really not much to say. I was born and raised here, and
Well, that's much.
a little something. And I married my husband 16 years ago, and his name is Ian, and we had 1 daughter. Her name is Kira Michelle, and that's about it.
Okay, give a kiss right in there.
My lovelies, you know who you are.
Good. All right, now the thing we're going to start on is these are homemade mats for the homeless,
Yes.
right? So now Betty, maybe you can tell us what they're made of.
They're made out of recycled grocery store bags.
Let's show them a bag.
We have, this one is, we have Jewel, we have Heinen's, we have Home Depot, and any other place that we get bags from. People save them and bring them to church for us. Heinen's has a receptacle in their lobby that people recycle right to the store for us.
All right, now how many of those bags does it take to make one of these?
It takes 800 bags to make 1 mat and a strap to carry it.
And I think they're going to show a picture of that on camera, of the mound of bags it takes to make 1 mat. Now, before we get into the details of making these mats, and I know you 2 ladies teach on that, I think that our audience, we have a very receptive audience, a very loving audience out there, and they're interested in, where did this idea come from? Now, I know you have a name, and we want to know a little bit about this name and whose name this is, because we like to give her some honor, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
So what's the name?
It's Tyna's Angels. And Tyna's Angels came from my grandmother who started this program in our area. She started with actually 4 people, one person that ran the mats down in Chicago, one who cut and made the plarn, and then 2 of them that would crochet.
So she was that kind of a person. Tell us a little bit about Tyna.
Well, she was pretty feisty.
She was pretty feisty,
yeah,
right?
pretty involved in our church, and always looking for a project or trying to help in some way. She had a small group of ladies that would make rosaries for the missions. And then when she read about this in one of the Catholic newspapers, she sent away for the directions how to make the mats. And then she wanted her kids to get involved with that too.
Now, were you involved with her when she started this?
We tried to stay away from it.
As much as possible. We actually shied away from it. She tried for a couple of years to get us involved, and of course, you're too busy, and you have this, that, and the other thing that you have to do.
Right.
And we didn't get involved when she was still alive.
Well, when we would go to visit her, if she was working on it, yeah, we'd sit there and we'd flatten bags for her, or fold, maybe even cut some strips, but we wouldn't take anything home.
Oh, so now how did this fall in there? Was it after she died?
Yes.
Was it guilt? What happened to
Well,
you?
actually, it wasn't even a guilt on our part. The gal that had helped her when they finished mats previously, Kathy Baggio, would take them to her church in Buffalo Grove, and then they would get into Chicago with the ones that church made. Well, Kathy asked our pastor, Father Ron Golatz at the time, if we could do something in my mom's memory. And so she explained to him that she would like to just see what would happen if we tried to start a group at church. The first night that they held the meeting, we had over 100 people show up.
Over 100 on the first night, so it kind of fell in your lap.
Yeah.
So you didn't even have a chance to get guilty over it, right?
No.
Oh, so it looks like the blessing fell on you.
Yes, it did. And so I already knew how to crochet. My grandma had taught me. And so it was just a natural progression. The rest of it is fairly simple, the flattening bags and cutting and looping and stuff.
So the 2 of you teamed up as a team?
Do you want to tell her how that happened?
Yeah, why don't you tell us, Sherri?
Well,
my
Aunt Betty likes to find things for me to do.
Okay.
And I got a phone call on a Wednesday night that said, you need to learn how to crochet. We have, 2 classes? 35 fifth graders that want to learn how to do this tomorrow.
So you had to learn right on the spot?
I had to learn on the spot. I went and I said, well, you're going to have to come to me. My daughter's at dance class tonight. So Aunt Betty came up where the dance class was, and she says, all right, here's how you do it. And she taught me in about 30 minutes.
Wow.
And
You're
the next
a fast
day,
learner.
and the next day, we went up to, I think it was
Arlington
Heights. And we taught fifth graders at one of the schools up there.
Oh, that's something. Well, should we start the process right from scratch? What do we start with? Why don't you show us, Betty? We're starting with a recycled plastic bag,
Yes.
right? Okay.
This one is from Heinen's, our pretty blue bags. You just take the bag and you flatten it so it looks as close as what it came off the stand at the store.
All right.
And then you fold it in half long ways, and then in half again.
Okay.
You take your scissors and you cut off the bottom seal and the
Okay.
top seal. And now actually, these would normally be recycled.
Uh-huh.
But one of the people in a group said they were going to make pillows out of these.
Uh-huh.
They use this for stuffing.
Oh,
So they put this in a plastic bag and then put the plastic bag in a crocheted square about this big, folded over. Well, actually, this whole blue section. And so now we can give the homeless also a small pillow.
oh,
Okay, so
Okay.
then you take your strips,
okay,
fold it in half, cut the seam
okay,
like that,
okay,
and then I fold mine just in thirds. Sometimes we use
right.
a template.
And so then it ends up to be scans. You want to hold up one of those scans? Okay. It turns out to be scans like that. And Sherri, why don't you hold up to the camera that what you're doing is you're crocheting from the scans.
Yes, I'm making a strap for
Okay.
easy.
Now
So it's
what we have is one hanging here, and it's actually got this is the strap. So they can put it over, the homeless can put it over their shoulder, and then and when it's rolled in that, right?
Carried like
so you saw it
purse.
from the plastic bag, and then it goes to scans, like it would be like scans of wool, and then we have Sherri over there doing it. You'll see one is hanging from here, and this is actually the strap that goes over the shoulder, and it goes in here. Well, we're going to get back to this, ladies, but right now it's Vita's Pearls of Wisdom. Okay, I have a lot to squeeze in a little bit amount of time, so I'm going to talk real fast. First of all, I hope you have changed all your policies with the Medicare open enrollment, because you really need to do this, okay? Now, this is the Christmas season, and what we should have in our heart, each one of us, is for the homeless. And this is a remarkable thing that's done. I think that this is sort of an involvement from, I know my grandma used to make these rag rugs. And I know talking to these young gals next to me before the show, they were saying that the hippies did this and they made themselves ponchos and things out of it. But this is a remarkable thing that we can do in our society today for recycling, and it's going into a good project. Now, you know, these two ladies will go and teach anywhere, and they're not making any money off of this. They're doing this because this is Betty's mother and Sherri's grandma that started this, that touched her heart, and this thing is growing. So they'll go anywhere. And I'm going to have Betty give the telephone number, and the telephone number is on the screen, and there's also a email address that you could mail to. So each one of you out there, if you're interested, you could contribute in some way to this project. This is a project each one of us as Americans should put something into it, because we should provide for homeless people. And you know, since they're made out of plastic, they're waterproof. So they can be used as a mat to sleep on at night, or if the weather is inclement, they can use it to cover themselves in inclement weather, or they can use it to sit on if they're going somewhere. And they carry it, you know, it's lightweight and it can be carried just like that. Okay, we're going to get back to some other Christmas things. One of the things that I've decided to do this Christmas is anything that I have as collectible, I'm going to give it away. I think that's the thing to do. You shouldn't wait until you're dead that somebody could inherit it. Give it away, you know, while you're alive, that you could see this, you could see the enjoyment who you're giving it to will give, you know. Now, there's people out there that are by themselves, and if you're by themselves, the way to get some joy in your heart is to volunteer for something. Now, this is a project that you have before you, and every listener and every person that's seeing it could contribute in some way. We're going to put the email address up on the screen, and Betty's going to give us the telephone number a few times that we should know that each one of us can have the best Christmas ever, because the best is yet to come. That's my motto. Now we're going to get back to the ladies. Now you've seen the first step of the process and heard a little bit about the history. Now we're going to hear some stories of how this is involved. And first of all, Betty, what I'd like you to do is look there and give out the telephone number.
Okay, it's my phone number. It's area code 847-526-2040. And there's an answering machine, so if I don't pick up, you can leave your message.
And Sherri, why don't you give out the email?
The email address is ianbyrne@gmail.com.
Okay, now you have a couple stories to go to. The first thing I like to say is, now in collecting all these plastic bags, I bet you found some interesting things in there.
Yes.
Who's going to tell us about it?
Yeah, well, I'll start. I've found some very interesting things. We've found money at various times. That's why the grandkids like to help when they come and visit for the summer, because as Grandma, can we keep the change that we find in the recycle bags? I found a person's paycheck one time, and Sherri also found a ring.
A ring?
It's a lady's small size ring, and it came out of a bag of recycled bags turned in at Heinen's. We're pretty sure that the lady who it belongs to went in to mention it and ask if anybody turned it in. But apparently we hadn't found that bag yet, and the store had since done 30 or 60 days or whatever and figured the ring was never going to be found. If you did lose a ring in a bag of recycling, please give me a call, because we still have it. We'd like to get it back to you. The paycheck.
You hear that? If somebody lost a ring and they donated some plastic bags is it Heinen's?
At Heinen's in Barrington.
In Barrington.
Yes.
Heinen's in Barrington. The ring has been found.
Yes. So please contact us, because we no longer have your contact information at the store. It would be wonderful to be able to get that back to you for Christmas.
Okay, now let's talk about some stories about this.
Well, we've had various wonderful, wonderful stories of giving out the mats, the finished mats, at the pad sites. That's where they generally go. We also have them in the Waukegan Police Department. They open their lobby so that homeless can come in and sleep there, and they use the mats to sleep on, but they're also able to take one with them if they'd like to when they're ready to leave in the morning.
All right, now I know that you have gone around to different senior centers in different places, but anybody who wants to start a project like that, you ladies will go just about anywhere that is reasonable for you to get to, right?
Yes.
Reasonable, because you live in what area? The Round Lake area?
Round Lake, Island Lake area.
Round Lake, Island Lake area. So anywhere reasonable within the area, you will go anywhere, right?
Yes.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
teach people to start your own group. And I know the police department will help distribute these mats.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you'll go to any senior center, or you'll go to any private party's house, right?
Yes.
All right, so why don't we give the telephone number and the email one more time for those who have to go and get a pencil, who forgot to bring a pencil when they sat down to watch the show, okay?
My phone number is area code 847-526-2040.
And now, how about the email?
The email address is ianbyrne@gmail.com.
Okay, one more time on that, because it takes them a long time to write.
Byrne,
Okay?
Ian Byrne @gmail.
B-E-R-N, right?
B-U-R-N.
B-U-R-N.
I-A-N.
I-A-N.
B-U-R-N.
Okay. I-A-N.
Mm-hmm.
B-U-R-N.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. All right. So now we got that. Now, I think we had some homeless stories.
Yes, actually there was a young man during the summer standing on a corner here in the area of 137 and Butterfield, I think was the intersection. And he had a kind of ratty looking piece of cardboard that he was holding up, that he was desperate for food. Well, I was on my way to take my cousin to the chiropractor, so I said to my cousin Henry, I said, if he's still there when we come back, I'm going to pull into the Sunset Food parking lot, and I've got some stuff from Aldi's that I didn't get all taken out of my car. But I didn't have a mat with me, unfortunately. Well, I gave him the food, and I went home, and I made sure I put a mat in my car. Later that week, I took my cousin again to the chiropractor, but the gentleman on the corner wasn't there. I took my cousin to the chiropractor then. While I was there, there was a young lady who was crocheting stuffed toys for one of the area hospitals for children. And so I said, well, how would you like, she mentioned that yarn is expensive, and I said, how would you like to learn how to crochet something that wouldn't cost you anything? So I brought my mat in, and I gave her a quick lesson, and she already knew how to crochet, so that problem was licked. I mentioned about the young man at the corner, and I said I hadn't seen him now when we came in today. And she said she's seen him also. So I said, could I give you this mat? And if you see him, would you give it to him? Well, you know, the Lord doesn't always tell you that you're going to get to witness all of these miracles. But I do believe that she was able to connect with him and give him that mat eventually.
Oh, that's so good. That's so heartwarming.
Well, and Kathy, the one who started our group at Transfiguration, she recently, when the pad site opened in Wakanda, she took 20-some mats, and there were supposed to be 45 individuals that stay at that pad site. And she took 20-some mats thinking, well, some are probably repeat people from the previous year. And apparently not, because not one person had a mat.
Huh.
So she had to just give out the 20-some she had, and now we're gathering, hoping to get another 20 and hopefully have enough for everybody that comes to the pad site on the 17th.
Well, what's so wonderful about these plastic bags are just throwaway bags. They can't do anything with them in the refill centers and the garbage centers. Here is a waterproof, constructive thing that can benefit the homeless people. But what's so wonderful about what you ladies are doing is that the people you go out and teach then teach other people.
Yes.
And so what you have is an explosive growth. So what we want to do is get the word out. So we want everybody out there to get involved in some way that we can get the word out, because, you know, this doesn't go on national television. They never talk about stuff like this. This is at a grassroots level. So we're going to show them at a grassroots level, like how much that this could grow, right? But one of the things I wanted each one of you to really talk about is, since you got involved in this particular project that sort of fell right from heaven into your lap, is what kind of gratification are you getting out of it?
Oh, you know,
Look right in there. And
sometimes I think that it's really, we're the winners. Maybe they're getting a nice mat and helping a little bit with the cold, but the high that you get off of giving one of these to someone, or hearing a story of someone else in the group and how they gave mats away. Mm-hmm. We had a gentleman couple of years ago, we were on a float in a Memorial Day parade, and a friend of mine and myself were up on the back of the tow truck.
Did you have a mat with you?
We had all kinds of mats draped over the straw because the straw was a little scratchy, and we wanted people to see. The gals on the ground were handing out directions how to do this and whatever. As we were sitting in traffic waiting for our truck to move, a gentleman walked over to us, and you couldn't have told he was a homeless person. I mean, what is our picture of a homeless person? He was clean shaven, he was nicely dressed, he had a flagged shirt on. He came over and he said, "You ladies just keep doing what you're doing, it's a wonderful thing." Then he said, "I'm a homeless person and I have one of your mats." And it still brings me to tears now because that was 2 years ago. This year when we were in the parade again, a woman came up to Kathy, our group leader of Transfiguration, and said, "I have 4 mats that I did from your directions last year. How do I get them to you?" So it's does
growing. How
go
about
on.
you, Sherri? You look in the camera.
You know, the one thing that I have to say to everybody is, you know, getting presents is nice, but, you know, giving from your heart, it's important. It's important.
Yes.
And it just, yeah.
And
It's wonderful.
When you sit with one of these, and she sits over at her daughter's dance class at the Park District, on the floor with a mat or a starter. I mean, because we have a lot of people that say, "Well, we don't know how to crochet," and but we have a 4-row starter that we've taught all kinds of people who have never crocheted before.
Yeah.
Well, you know, everybody's got to get involved in this. We have to pass the word on. So one more time, your telephone number.
Okay, 847-526-2040.
One more time.
It's burnianburn@gmail.com. BURNIANBURN@gmail.com.
Or you can go, if you forget all that, you can come right into seniorissues.org, and you can contact me, and I'll have this online, and this will be up online forever. So we want everybody to get involved because this is what Christmas should be in giving. And so now, how many years have you been doing this?
About 4.5 years now as the group
when
from
when did your mother die?
My mother passed, no, I guess it isn't 4.5 years. 3.5?
3.5 years.
3.5. My mom, 4.5.
And so you started right afterward, right?
She died in September, and this started the following April.
The following April, and at your first meeting, you had 100 people.
Yes.
So people are interested in really doing and really giving this out. Well, this is what the holiday is all about. And you out there, you're the one that I'm talking about. You that's sitting on the couch, when you come to the end of your rope, you tie a knot and hang on. You know why? Because the best is yet to come. And what we want you all to do for this holiday and this week is Merry Christmas. Catch the spirit. God bless you. We love you.